Okay, that's how you leverage know, like, and trust. This is how we can access almost anybody in the world without having to make cold contacts, without having to go and sell your butt off. We're talking friend of a friend with
Mhm.
no pressure. This might not be for you, and that's okay. But I did promise Anne that you could see this first.
So I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Ann Carden, and I have to tell you, I am so excited for my guest today. I knew I had to have him on. He is going to bring so much value to you today, talking about how to get sponsorship deals. And I know if you are listening to this Expert in You podcast, this is probably something that you would love to dive deeper into. So Claude Haggerty, welcome to my show.
I'm looking forward to it, and sponsorships can be life-changing. So looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Yes. So very quickly, I'm just going to give a quick bio about Claude and how he kind of got into what he's doing now. First of all, I mean, he's got such an impressive background. He truly is an expert in what he is going to talk about today. But he toured as a grand illusionist for 36 years, performing in 11,000 gigs. 11,000. Now that makes an expert, right? And I know he even talked about having the tigers, and I'll let him talk more about that. But he was a grand illusionist for 36 years. Then he was putting together thousands of sponsorship deals for his own shows. And today, he doesn't work in show business anymore, but in 2018, he started mentoring entertainers, expert speakers, and presenters on how to land sponsorships for their events, their seminars, and retreats. So, Claude, I'm just so honored to have you here, and I cannot wait to dive into this with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne. First of all, let's talk about the importance, or why should we even bother with sponsorships? And to me, I find there are some immediate advantages of getting sponsored. Number one, the minute you shake hands with your new sponsor partner, you now have instant credibility in a community that you may not have credibility on your own, because you can leverage your sponsor's credibility. You are brought to that community by the Bank of America or by Visa or some other well-known brand. So that immediately puts you in the expert status. Secondly, as soon as we shake hands with a potential sponsor or client, they have a Rolodex of folks that also could help us with our events. They could make one phone call and get you that venue that you're looking for. They could make one phone call and get you on the radio. They can make one phone call and get you pretty much whatever you want through their Rolodex of contacts. And how important is that when you're putting on events?
Right.
The
And
third
these are
advantage,
kind of hidden things that people don't think about as
exactly.
well. So perfect. I love this. Keep going.
Thirdly, as soon as you shake hands with a new potential, with a new sponsor partner, you have instant cash. They're going to pay you now for an event you might do a month or two down the road. And how handy would it be to have $5,000 or $20,000 in advance before you put on your event?
Absolutely.
And
well, this is exciting. So I know that you have put together a program. So let's dive into, first of all, what are some of the hangups people have around getting sponsors? Is it that they just don't really know how to do it? There may be missing pieces in how they're trying to do it. Maybe it's not working. What do you see, Claude?
having 40 years of experience of doing this myself and mentoring experts, entertainers, authors, and even a couple hundred race teams that are well known for sponsorships, I find the biggest factor is the fear factor. They fear approaching others, asking for help, asking for money.
Okay, so how does someone get through that if they're
Well, first,
afraid to do that? I'm sure you have some tips and some tricks there.
well, sure I do. First of all, start off with people that you already know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
So if you already know, like, and trust someone, you have no fear of approaching them because you already know them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Secondly, when you present, we're offering those we partner with 2 to 10 times what they give us. So we're not asking for help. We're not asking for a donation. We're not asking for a favor. We're saying, would you be interested in having a conversation to see if perhaps we could mutually benefit or we can mutually profit by helping each other? And if I can help you win and you could help me win, and together we could help a local nonprofit group or some other group that we both mutually care about, this becomes a win-win-win community partnership where we all win. So understanding the difference between a donation versus a win-win-win community partnership certainly gives us a little more confidence to go out and present this to folks that we already know, like, and trust.
Sure. That's great. What are so fear, getting over the fear. How do you go after, say, a cold audience or people that you don't really know? What's the best way to do that? Because there may, at some point, you will come to that place where you need to do that, right? That could be something that people would really have a fear around.
I try not to make cold calls if I don't have to. No,
Nobody likes
here's the
them.
thing, okay? I have no problem making cold calls now that I have 40 years of experience and 1,000 testimonial pieces that I can leverage to gain access to wherever I want to go. But for those folks who are starting out, it's better off to start with people that you know, like, and trust. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about fresh food in the ground, there's 3 levels of fresh food in the ground. First of all, it's the family and friends that you personally know that have a business that may be interested in partnering with you. The second area is a friend of a friend. And this is the one area that folks don't leverage enough. You know 1,000 people I don't know. I know 1,000 people you don't know. My mother knows 1,000 people that I don't know. My next door neighbor knows 1,000 people I don't know. And I'll show you how easy this can be. And what's the name of the city that you live in?
Troy, Missouri.
Troy?
Troy, Missouri.
Okay. And do you know even one real estate agent quite well there?
Yes.
Even one? And
Yeah.
who would you know? And who would you know there?
Dale Black.
Dale? And how do you know Dale?
He used to be one of my clients years ago.
And do you ever do any transactions with him?
He did transactions with me. I haven't personally bought a home or anything from him, but yes.
And is there anything funny that you remember about Dale, or anything that you guys ever have a funny moment together, an experience of any kind?
I would have to think about that, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
we did.
Here's the thing, okay? I've never been to Troy, Michigan, never been there. And I certainly have never met Dale, but I could call up Dale. Dale here, realtor, Troy, Michigan. Hey, Dale, my name's Claude Haggerty. I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And you and I have never met. That's a fact. But we have a mutual friend that speaks quite highly of you, actually. This mutual friend said that she's known you for quite some time. And even though you've never done real estate transactions, you've done other business together. And she speaks very highly of you. And I might share a personal story that you shared with me, that something you did, something that was funny. And he would, oh yeah, that was a great time. And he would talk a little bit about that. Hey, listen, Dale, I was talking with Ann about doing an event in Troy, Michigan, that's actually going to benefit a local realtor. And when I was mentioning this to Ann, she thought of you right away. Now, Dale, what I have may or may not be for you, but I did promise Ann that you could see this first. If you like this, maybe we'll do something. If not, no harm done. I'll approach another realtor, but I did promise Ann that you could see this first.
I love it.
Okay.
So
there's a $1 million script right there.
yes,
Because,
I was just going to say copy paste.
Because Dale would meet with me with very little hesitation
Resistance.
or reservation. Okay. He doesn't know me. He doesn't like me. He doesn't trust me, but he knows and likes and trusts Ann, that knows and likes and trusts me, that knows and likes and trusts Ann, that knows and likes and trusts Dale. So I would be very comfortable with that conversation, and so would Dale. Okay. Now imagine if I just called Dale the other way. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, Dale, realtor, Troy, Missouri. Hey, Dale, you don't know me and I don't know you, but do I have a deal for you? Goodbye, not interested.
Right.
Okay. That's how you leverage know, like, and trust. This is how we can access almost anybody in the world without having to make cold contacts, without having to go and sell your butt off. We're talking friend of a friend. with no pressure. This might not be for you, and that's okay. But I did promise Anne that you could see this first.
So good, Claude.
Okay.
So
And
good.
here's the thing, even if Troy was not interested, I would still build a connection with him,
Mm-hmm.
and it would further my connection with you, and which would further your connection with Dale, because he had the first opportunity to do this with zero pressure. This might not be for you, and that's okay.
Well, and not even that. And as I have found, even if it's not for them, they may know someone. They may refer you to someone
Exactly.
else. And
Well, that would
so,
be the next step. Troy, if this is
yes,
not for you, who, now that you know me and I'm a friend Anne and your friend Anne, who do you know, like, and trust that this might be a good fit for, now that you know who
right.
I am and what I'm doing here, right? And the same thing too, right? One of the first things I like to do is I support a local food bank in almost all my events.
I
And
love
I
it.
have,
So you
so
have a
I,
passion there.
right? So I grew up in 4 foster homes, so I kind of learned firsthand what food banks are all about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
But I supported thousands of food banks, and I like to discount my admission to my events for those who bring a non-perishable food item that I turn over to a local soup kitchen or to a local food bank.
I love it.
Now, right? So if I was partnering with if I was doing an event in Troy with you, right? And here's the other thing too. Having your event sponsored allows you to pick and choose when you perform, where you perform, and who you perform with. And I'll give an example. Let's say I was to call the Troy Fire Department. They answer, Troy Fire Department. Hey, my name's Claude Haggerty. I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. We've never met. That's a fact. But on August the 15th, I'm coming to Troy, Michigan. I'm going to visit my friend Anne, and together we're going to put on an event to benefit a local nonprofit group in Troy. And we had heard through the grapevine that the Troy Fire Department is looking to raise funds and awareness to purchase new trucks or equipment or whatever we're looking to do. So when Ann and I do this event on August 15th, we're going to donate 50% of our mission to a local cause. And if you say yes, we're going to give this to you. If you say no, we're going to give it to another cause. They say, see August 15th. They don't say it's not a good day. We're not interested in the money, right? And it's through the generosity of my sponsors, which allows me the affordability to donate 50% of my ticket sales to a nonprofit groups that I select partner with. And many of our sponsors, one of the advantages we could give to them is, look, John, if you come on as a platinum sponsor, not only would I partner with a local nonprofit group, but if you could choose a nonprofit group that we approach first, where they get to pick a cause that maybe is important to them. Now tell me you're not interested in sponsoring this.
Right. So good.
Right.
And people love to give back, and they love to give to good causes and be part of a good cause. So yes, that's so powerful. And it's even a powerful, just FYI, it's a powerful tip in your business too, to use a portion of your proceeds to support something. So but I love that. So good. Wow, Claude, you're dropping the bombs here.
Sorry about that.
You are giving it away, my friend. So good. So, Claude, how long would it take someone if they were just getting started to maybe get their first sponsor? Like, what are I know you've had some incredible results. Let's talk about some of those. What are some things that you've seen?
And again, I'm not here to pitch my program, but I am going to mention that I do have a 1 hour seminar, and I've had probably 100 testimonials of folks have landed a sponsor within 48 hours of attending that 1 hour seminar.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Right. So folks that are looking for an extra 1,000 to 5,000, maybe even 10,000, I find in 1 hour, like 90 minutes, I can show them the basic strategies to go out and feel very confident in presenting to someone they know they can trust to land a possible win-win sponsor opportunity. For folks that are looking for much more, obviously, it's pretty hard to share 11,000 events in 90 minutes. But I find in 6 weeks' time, I can transform most entertainer, authors, experts, speakers, race team, where they're in a position they can land $20,000 to $100,000 in sponsorships. And I find in about 6 weeks' time, I'm able to give them the basic foundation and the tools that they need to go out and present this with confidence. Knowing who to approach is a big thing, right? Because if you can identify who your best partners are, it saves a whole lot of time. Most folks seeking sponsorships will send out 1,000 proposals. My clients send out maybe 20 and 19 will be accepted.
That is amazing. Wow, what a success rate. But again, you've been doing this for 36 years. And I do want to say, first of all, you can probably, if you are watching the video of this podcast, you can see Claude's book back there, and we're going to talk about his book. But he has primarily worked with race teams, but then saw a need in the coaching, consulting, professional entrepreneur space as well, because they're out there running events and they're out there trying to do bigger things in their businesses. And he saw that this is a good fit. Even publications. I have a new magazine coming out, Expert in You, and also looking for sponsors and advertisers for that magazine as well. So this works in that capacity too. But he did do a lot of work with race teams, and I'm so glad you've come into the professional space.
Well, here's the thing, Ann. I started off in the professional space because I did 11,000 events
That's crazy.
as a magician. Okay.
Mhm.
If I put a map of Canada up on the wall, I could give you a dart or a pin and say, I'll turn my back. You could put that pin in any city in my country, and I'll bet you I've landed a sponsor within 30 minutes of where you put that pin in any
Wow.
city in my country, which is a pretty big statement. So I learned a lot. But here's what happened. 2 of my employees used to race.
Mhm.
I worked with my magic show. And because they race, I sponsored 2 of them for 15 years.
Right.
So because I was a sponsor and a sponsor expert of my own, but because I sponsored them because they were my employees, I got a chance to see firsthand how race teams really struggle with this. But I never really thought of coaching or mentoring them. To
Mhm.
me, I was just a fan. I'm a magician. Okay. In 2018, when I retired, I opened up a brick and mortar sandwich shop that was also highly sponsored, by the way. But my sub shop started sponsoring a race team because there were clients of our sub shop. In 2019, there was a tragic fire where 9 race teams lost everything in an explosion, including the car I sponsor.
Mm.
So he came to me saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, go get more sponsors. He said, it's COVID.
Ah, right.
And not only was there the safe distances, and everything had to be done through Zoom, but our racetrack that has 2,500 seats was allowed to race during COVID with 100 spectators in the seats. That's
Oh,
it.
God.
Not 101, not 120,
Mhm.
100. So our track took those 100 tickets, auctioned them off to the highest bidder so they could race, but there was no fans. So he said, who is going to sponsor me under those conditions? And I looked at him and I said, Dave, you're my friend, and I'm going to tell you the truth. This is not going to be easy, my friend, but we have to sit down and we have to think of a plan of how can
Mhm.
we approach this. So I helped him to put together a proposal where we went out to local sponsors and saying, look, hey, we have no idea where COVID is going to be. We have no idea how many races are going to happen. We have no idea even if there will be racing beyond tomorrow. We have no
Mhm.
idea. That's a fact. But I want you to rest assured that regardless if we race 1 races or 50 races, regardless if there's 100 people in the stands or 3,000 people in the stands, this is how we're going to take care of you regardless.
Can you
He did
talk a little bit more about that? How were you going to take care of them?
through social media,
Mhm.
introducing to each other, mostly through social media at that time because they weren't
Mhm.
racing, right? But mostly through their live streams as they were building their cars, as they were
Mhm.
fine tuning their engines, they were thanking their sponsors. And just by being totally brutally honest, saying that we have no idea when we'll race or how we're going to race, but we
Mhm.
need your help because of the fire. And these are some of the ways that we can help you back. He approached 21 businesses and picked up 21 sponsor checks.
Oh my gosh, Claude, that's amazing. That is
So
amazing.
thank you. So he went on a podcast. They interviewed him about the fire and they asked him how did he bounce back. And he's like, this magician dude kind of showed me,
He's magic.
yeah, kind of showed me a different way of thinking about sponsorships. I kind of thinking, and when I changed the way how I thought about sponsorships, I could change the outcome. So the next day, teams started reaching out after hearing the podcast and they asked, are you the magician who waves that magic wand and we get sponsors? I'm like, it's not quite that easy. There is some work involved. But one of the gentlemen that came to me was Chuck Hobbs. And Chuck is into tractor pulling. And Chuck says, I'm not a race car. I don't go around the track 300 times. I
Mhm.
back up a tractor. They hook up a block of concrete. I pull it 100 yards on the track. I'm done for the day. That's it. Not very exciting. Who's going to sponsor me? So I worked with Chuck for 6 weeks through my program. Chuck has done 23 presentations on his 21 sponsor checks. Oh, and by
Amazing.
the way, too, Dave Mamo in 2019, when he landed those 21 sponsor deals, in
Mhm.
22, they stayed with him. In 20, they stayed with him. 21, they run the car. 22 in their car. 23 in the car. 24, those sponsors are still on the car. You know, it's one thing to land the sponsors, but keeping them on board, you got to give them enough value. right?
So good. And one of the things that you shared with me too, when we first talked about the podcast, is you said people have sponsors. A lot of times they'll have them for 10 years. I mean, that's amazing. Most coaches don't keep clients for 10 years. So to be able to keep sponsors for that long is just amazing. Gosh, you have really dropped the value here today. I want to ask you though about your book. What can we find in that book back there? And is that your main book?
It is my book, although another one is coming soon.
Okay.
See, here's the thing, Ann. I started working, helping entertainers, authors, experts, speakers all over the world to land sponsor deals because this is something I feel very comfortable in that space. I've done it
Mm-hmm.
my whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Firsthand experience. And I find that I'm able to, there's no sense others making the same mistakes that I already paid dearly for.
I hear you there. That's where all of
Okay.
our passion comes from.
Okay. Because some of the mistakes, there's been times where I was on a 1 yard line and couldn't close it and lost $100,000 sponsor deals. But I know
Mm-hmm.
what I did wrong. Looking back, I know how I could have done and should have done that differently so
Mm.
that other folks don't have to do that. Through the race teams, this was something that I never really thought of, but I had sponsored cars for 15 years as a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of got to really know the ins and outs of that too. One of my best friend owns the racetrack and I've helped him with sponsorships and always been part of that. So this was something that I was always part of. And what I just realized maybe even about a month ago, that regardless if I was working with a speaker, a magician, a coach, a race team, a nonprofit group, a sports team, an athlete, it does not matter. The process is still the same exactly. And I'm just coming to that realization, having helped enough people now that it's the same strategies, it's the same content.
Mm-hmm.
So for me now, instead of trying to help entertainers over here and authors over here and race teams over here, I like to bring a lot of them together to show them that anything can be sponsored using these strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm really seeing a big picture where these entertainers who are doing virtual events can partner with race teams who have huge followings and corporate sponsors to do some really interesting win-win-win-win community cross promotions between my entertainer friends and speakers, authors, experts, and all my race teams who have huge followings and big corporate sponsors. There's a lot of really cool partnerships that are about to happen here, I believe. So this is where I'm at.
So good. So good. All right, Claude. So first of all, you can reach out to Claude on social media. He's on Facebook. He's on LinkedIn. You right? You are on LinkedIn. Is that right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But he has a workshop coming up. Claude, would you like to talk about that workshop? I know it's coming up here very quickly.
I'm going to do the first one like this on Monday, June 17th. You can go to
Okay.
claudehaggerty.com/seminar.
Okay. Do you run these periodically, Claude? So
I do. And
okay.
after we do a few like this, I'll have an on-demand version, but I want to do a live one and for this one I'm doing on the 17th, I like the fact that there'll be authors, experts, race teams, hypnotists, jugglers from all walks of life. I'll put them all together on the seminar, and I'm looking forward to the questions that come from that. And it's amazing how you can learn from the different niches, even though the sponsorship may be applied slightly differently, the main process is the same.
So good. We will drop that link with the show notes. He gave it, but we'll go ahead and drop that with the show notes so you can go get registered for that. And if you happen to miss that one, reach out to him and get in on his next one or talk to him about his program. So Claude, thank you so much. By the way, what's the next book going to be?
How to get anything sponsored.
Oh, so good. All right. I love it. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun, such a pleasure. And I cannot thank you enough for the value that you gave to my audience today. Everyone should listen to this. I can't wait to get it out there for you and promote you because you, my friend, are doing some awesome things, some awesome work. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, Ed. Thank you for having me here.
All right, everyone. Until next time, go rock your business. And if you need some help building your business to $1 million or more with high-level clients, then reach out to me about my $1 Million Accelerator program. It's mastermind group coaching, but it is a very high level, and I would love to tell you all about it. So you can book a call with me at acarden.com. Until next week, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
If you've enjoyed this show, then I want to invite you to check out a free automated webinar where I show you how you can bring in ultra high fee clients for $25,000 to $125,000 or even more. I show you how you can do this maybe even in the next 7 to 60 days. So if you want to check out that free webinar, just go to expertinyouaccelerator.com and I'll see you on the inside. You have an amazing day, and until next time, God bless you. Go rock your business.